Hey, hey. Hi, guys. Welcome back. All right. So, Scorpios, let's jump on in. By the way, Scorpios, so good to be back. Thank you guys for being patient with me. I was down sick a bit with my lungs, but anyway, it's great to be back. So, we have Black Onyx. Go within for clarity. We are starting out with a very powerful energy of like once in a while, if we have to retreat to get those internal answers, it says that Scorpio has all the answers within themselves. It's already like locked in, stored inside. This is not really a mystery. Onyx is one of those things. Onyx, obsidian, that the color black can be powerful, it can be reflective, it can be like a wonderful source of like looking into the future as well, even as it is a powerful source to protect ourselves with. So I'm thinking that we have Vision Quest. Okay, so now I can say with more confidence, whatever this is for Scorpio, they already know that there's something really special in their lives that they and they alone have to make a decision about. And they're looking internally, not to find themselves. I feel like Scorpio knows themselves very well. I'm thinking they're trying to look into the future, almost like somebody who's scrying or somebody who's looking into, a piece of obsidian or something, and they're looking to see into that, the many, many timelines that our life can take shape depending on what actions we take next. I feel like Scorpio is trying to see into their own future because they already know they have the ability to do that, but it takes, going into that kind of quiet space. They got to be eagle-eyed about this. We got the Ace of Swords. Scorpio already knows how something could play out, might play out, will play out, but they have to be able to hear it loud and clear in their mind, in their heart. Seven of Wands, there's been some kind of conflict around this decision. And that's why Scorpio's like, whoa, hold on. I need to go internal because I have great clarity on being able to see my own future, except during a time where maybe my wants have been clouded, my ego gets in the way a little bit. We have this Queen of Swords. I feel like if there had been conflict with another person, that could have thrown Scorpio off kilter. If someone was constantly like saying things, blocking Scorpio's energy, getting into Scorpio's energy field a little bit, they were making it harder for Scorpio to pay attention to what they typically know, the way they typically would handle life. This Scorpio is very like sharply intelligent. They normally wouldn't have any problem finding the right words and the truthful words to express themselves. But obviously they dealt with someone. Let me ask about that Seven of Wands. They dealt with somebody that muddied the waters for them a little bit. Eight of Pentacles. Could have been someone that Scorpio was trying so hard to work with this person. And of course, anytime we deal with another person, there's going to be a compromise, right? They're going to bring in new ideas, new fresh perspectives that we're unfamiliar with. We'll have to adjust, adapt, assimilate information, and then repackage it and say, okay, but wait a second. What do I agree with? How would I proceed? And I almost think that somebody was actually trespassing a little bit. Maybe they wanted to work on things with Scorpio in a specific way. This could have been someone who wanted to get back together with Scorpio. And Scorpio was almost saying, wow, wait a second. Do I really see me with them long term? I'm having a hard time figuring out what I want. And it might have been because this person was like persuasive, was saying, no, just, let me show you. Let me put in some effort here. I can persuade you. I know, Scorpio, you really like this. You really like this. Yeah, Seven of Cups. Scorpio was never sure about this. This could have been someone persuading Scorpio or attempting to persuade Scorpio to change their opinion about something, to give them a chance to, heck, this could be about anything. Come work with me. Let's do this business venture together. But Scorpio never could get a read on whether or not they could really see this working out, whether or not their future has this in it, which is unusual. I don't think Scorpio usually has that difficulty in making a decision. But this was something that it was perpetually getting murky. And maybe it's because somebody was putting a really happy spin on it, right? You notice that we have the rainbow and the promise of the castle. But I think just like rainbows are just fractals of light, right? It's basically an illusion. You can't go up and grab a hold of a rainbow. And I almost think that that's what Scorpios come to the conclusion of. Scorpio deals in certainties, not in promises, things that sound really good, maybe too good to be true. Scorpio doesn't easily find themselves getting hoodwinked by somebody and being persuaded to agree with someone else's plan if they don't authentically believe in it. Whether it's about a romance or, somebody trying to get back together with Scorpio, or whether it's about business, I still feel like Scorpio is not somebody who typically struggles with knowing what is right for them. We have this Four of Swords that was sideways. I do think Scorpio kind of like has needed to step back into a moment of silence, maybe not answer their phone for a day or two, or at least a couple hours I don't know if this is Scorpio going to be getting outside, taking a walk, getting super grounded. They could be doing some grounding practice. This could be a Scorpio who, look, I'll get back to you in a couple days. I'm not sure yet. No, I'm going to be busy. No, I've got, and Scorpio might even like beg off or something, say, no, I've got to go visit a family member who's not well. That's not exactly true because this card is sideways. This is more like Scorpio might be coming up with a bit of an excuse to buy themselves the time to get some silence so that they can actually go and meditate or do whatever it is that they do on a vision quest, where they go inside and they say, okay, now that I have no other noise around me, now that I don't have this person texting me constantly, now that I've given myself space, even if it's not 100% true, because this can speak of creating silence so that we can hear our own thoughts. But swords usually have to do with, clear communication. And I feel like Scorpio just bought themselves some quiet space using some murky, like non-answer, or like I said, I could see Scorpio like creating space for themselves through, it doesn't have to be a lie, but like I said, I know I'm going to be with a family member who needs my assistance. Maybe that family member, we're going to swing by to say hi to, our cousin who's 25 and had broken their ankle, and it's just popping by to say, hey, how you doing, cuz? You almost healed up. Awesome. Like it may be no big deal, but still, it's like, no, I have a family thing going on. I won't be available to talk to you or get back to you about this thing you're trying to persuade me to do. Somebody really, really wants Scorpio to do something with them, for them. And Scorpio is giving themselves space to figure out what they actually want to do. And they needed to create a little bit of space for that so they can just hear themselves think. I don't know what this is about. Can we get any clarity on, is this an ex-lover who's trying to get back with Scorpio? Is this, like I said, a business related thing? We have a Three of Cups. It's definitely somebody who wants to have a sit down. Maybe this is somebody who's trying to ask Scorpio to go out on a date with them so they can explain everything. Oh, Scorpio, if you just give me time, I can explain all this away. Sun card, I'm going to be super clear. I'm going to make you so happy. This feels like somebody who's trying to get a second chance with Scorpio, and Scorpio's not too into this. Or they certainly don't know. Why is Scorpio so reticent to deal with this person again? Because Scorpio's life has been good for a while. We got the Nine of Pentacles. Scorpio's life has been structured, organized. Their money is looking good. Their life is looking organized. They like their home. They like the environment they've created. They like, like their routine. They like waking up in the morning and hearing the birds sing. They like maybe not answering to anybody. They like their sense of freedom. Scorpio, this is a single person's very abundant card. That still could talk about business-oriented offers. And this could still be Scorpio's like, I don't want to go into business with somebody else. I like the way I do my own thing. I don't know that I want to deal with someone else's offer. I still don't know if this is like business or romance. 10 of Wands. I feel like Scorpio just has needed to figure out how to tell somebody no. Because I think all this time they've already known, why would I change anything because someone else wants me to when I like the way things are for me right now? And I think Scorpios just needed to find the way to say no to somebody. I don't want to do that. Maybe in the past, if I did work with this person or I did, date this person or whatever it was, maybe I'm realizing my life is actually more stable and comfortable without them in it, in that capacity. Let's say, let's go to something a little bit more touchy. Let's say this is like an adult son or daughter who is trying to convince Scorpio, like, hey, let me move back in, or hey, what would work so great for all of us is, if you babysit the kids and, it'll just be like 8 hours a day, some days out of the week. Let's do this. It'll make everything will work so good for all of us. And Scorpio's like, honestly, I know what they're trying to pitch. They're trying to pitch what's good for them. And they're trying to tell me how it would make me happy. But in fact, I'm already happy. I don't think I need to say yes. I just need to not feel guilty saying no. That's what this whole storyline looks like to me. Scorpio needs to be able to keep their boundaries in place, needs to be able to say no. But first they had to get to the bottom line of, could I really see me doing this? Would I want to do this? And where is my hang up in responding? It's because I have to not feel guilty when I come to the conclusion that I'm already happy. I don't need someone else's plan to impact my life. And there we go with that Ace of Swords. This feels like it was about somebody trying to come back in, either try to get Scorpio back to work for them, try to get Scorpio to let them back in romantically, try to get Scorpio to say yes all over again. Let's work together again. Let's play together again. Let's be roommates again. I don't know. It could be about love. It could, now we can start to shrink this down and we can say we got the Action of Cups. It is definitely a storyline where someone, there could have been business and living situations all rolled into this, but mostly because birds are migratory, the truth of it is this person wanted to get themselves back ingratiated into Scorpio's heart. They really wanted to come forth with an emotional offer, and they're pretty sure that they could win Scorpio back. Scorpio doesn't want to be won back, as it turns out. Why was Scorpio feeling guilt about this, that they had to alleviate? The Chariot and the Inspiration of Pentacles sideways, because it's not just that Scorpio is realizing, I don't want to take an ex back, even though they really, really, really want me back. It's the truth of it is, I'd rather move forward with somebody else, even if I haven't even met somebody else yet. The idea of meeting a different romantic partner, kissing a different pair of lips, that's way more exciting. In fact, the idea of going back to someone I already kissed could be like, I'm feeling like Scorpio's throat closes up at the idea of maybe somebody wear too much cologne or perfume or something. Maybe there's also something about no, I don't, I'm getting bad breath or something too. Sorry to be so specific, but it just feels like the thought of having somebody come back into Scorpio's life and them having to deal with that person all over again, even though maybe once upon a time it did seem really happy. Since things have been over for a period of time, Scorpio can't quite picture wanting this person back anymore. And in truth, they would rather see what else is out there. They picture themselves, keep in mind, this is the vision quest. This is Scorpio trying to picture, what does my future look like? And I think deep down, this Scorpio already knows their future has somebody who's possibly a great lover, somebody who might like being by the sea or going to swim with the dolphins. Dolphins are very chatty. Whoever this would be, they'd be emotionally available. Scorpio would see themselves with somebody that would be very communicative, very intelligent, very fun, and a great lover. Someone who they might be able to spend a lot of time doing water sports with, if they're somebody who loves being down by the marina or going to SeaWorld or, whatever this is. Scorpios, when they really focus in this story, this Scorpio, when they really go inward and they ask themselves, what do I actually see my life looking like? Who do I really see myself with? I think Scorpio is realizing I see myself with a lover, and it isn't my ex. It's somebody new. It's someone I haven't even met yet. I haven't turned that page quite yet. But maybe Scorpio didn't know until this moment in time that they didn't want an ex back. Maybe they were under the impression themselves for a while that, yeah, I guess, we'll probably patch stuff up. And then Scorpio was like, what am I doing? This doesn't even feel right. Look, I think there was a lot of conflict between Scorpio and this ex anyway. I think there must have been some things that they witnessed or they saw and they realized, I don't really want conflict with a person. I don't want to have to keep working through the conflict with this person. Maybe we don't have that much in common. Maybe I can't really see them as my future person. Certainly instead of a 7 of wands, we've got the Chariot, which is also a 7, but this is like, if there's any reservation in my heart getting back together with the ex, but I can picture being with a totally different new person and I have no reservation about it. I think it's pretty clear that this Scorpio doesn't actually want to take somebody back. But it's weird because this almost felt like it was an expected, of course, Scorpio and the ex were going to work things through. It doesn't feel like there was a huge blow up. It just feels like there was always some kind of struggle. There were, little micro issues to be dealt with, or maybe this person brought a lot of complications. And I kind of feel like all of their complications, I don't think Scorpio wants to deal with them. And I don't think that's Scorpio being selfish. I think it's just them realizing I want someone with a less complicated life. Somebody maybe with less complicated, whatever their laundry was, their dirty laundry was that they brought in. Maybe they had money issues, ex issues, there's lots and lots of stuff that gets in the way of, having like an easy flow to life. But it just looks like Scorpio's like, I don't want to deal with their stuff. It's not to be rude, not to be mean, but I don't want to deal with their stuff. And I don't think Scorpio's going to. I think this is it. This is where all of that like drama stops. I just don't see Scorpio being down with that. And they had to be okay. They had to think through it and make sure they're not making any mistakes about what they really want and the future that they see for themselves. In this storyline, Scorpio sees someone else on their horizon. And because this was a Scorpio on a vision quest, going inside and asking themselves, what do I really see from my future? I'm going to say that they're probably their premonitions, they are spot on. Like they can see themselves in a different romance already. So anyway, Scorpio caught a glimpse of their future. That's what I would say. All right. Thank you guys for being here. Thanks for giving it a thumbs up and subscribing. Lots of love. Bye.